So good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. My name is Rich Clark, Guide to the Right Path. Now I'm talking about essential oils, and I'm going to start a new series, which is energy and clarity. So to start the first with energy and clarity, I'm going to talk about peppermint. Peppermint is helping with the cooling clarity. So peppermint wakes up the mind, clears headaches, and supports digestion. So where does it come from? Well, it's native to Southern Europe and brought to the USA in the early 19th century. Nowadays, the US is the main producer of peppermint, but it's also cultivated in many countries across the world, in Argentina, Brazil, France, Italy, and India, for example. Now, how do we extract that? Well, as you can see behind me, this is actually a herb. So it's extracted by distillation from the dried herbs. So distillation is where you literally put the herbs in, you boil the water, and then the actual oil comes at the top, and that creates that film, and then that's how the film is actually then created. So it's by heating, and that's how distillation works. It's how wine is created, and so forth. Now, the historical things, there's very many different ideas. So the Greeks and Romans crowned themselves in it at feasts and used it to flavour wines and sauces. There are reports that the ancient Egyptians used it for stomach troubles. Today, it's a natural energizer, but not a lot of proof is on this about the ancient Egyptians. And then also, due to distillation, only reached England in the 16th century. So distillation to actually get the extraction of the peppermint oil would mean that more or less, actually, when people use peppermint, it was more or less they ate it just raw. But actually, distillation as an oil would have actually been a later thing, more in the mid-century, mid 15th, 16th century, more likely. So what would we do to explain this? So when you try this, inhale deeply from the bottle when you need a focus boost. And what is it good for? So peppermint has a few things. As we know, we hear peppermint is used in the flavour of a lot of things. So it fights odour. So it's useful as a body deodorant. It's mainly, you notice it in toothpaste and mouthwashes and other dental preparations due to its antiseptic properties. And this helps bad breath. So why also do you see it sometimes in skincare? So it actually is known for soothing the skin. It's in a very, very diluted peppermint oil, has cooling and toning effects on the skin and relieves hives. Now, why I said very diluted is because people think when they get an essential oil, they put loads in because they're used to everything smelling strong. But when you actually use essential oil, you don't use a lot because what you're doing is sometimes you're doing 1,000 peppermint leaves to one. So it's a hell of a strong foundation. So you need to understand this. So it can be used for treating cold sores. One of the things I've used peppermint for is for tummy massages. So when you've ever got indigestion or bloating or flatulence, what you do is you have a peppermint blend, which usually you mix with chamomile, which you do is a very much you use of like one drop to say like 2 drops of peppermint oil, 2 drops, 3 drops of chamomile, and you do that to say 50 mils of about a carrier oil, so almond oil, whatever that is. And what you do is to do that, you would massage that on the tummy area, and this will calm your nausea and travel sickness. So also do that if children have an issue. You could actually even do that even on a dog as well. That's because sometimes they get nausea in the car. Now, also, it helps fight the common cold to clear the sinuses and coughs. So useful in a diffuser, or if your child is sick, is not to make sure it hits the face, but it's actually put hot water down in a bowl, put the towel over the head, and then actually let them smell. And I would put actually to me, I'd put lavender, chamomile, and peppermint, and that would really relieve a lot of issues. Also, it's been known to soothe bites and stings, so a great insect repeller. So if you put, say, in a 100 ml bottle, a spray bottle, put 2 drops of peppermint oil, and we would usually do like lemon or orange or something like that. That would be a great insect repellent. So like chamomile, add to a compress and add on the temples to relieve tension and headaches. Again, not too much. So chamomile, you do 2 to 3, peppermint 1 would be fine. Now, with the nervous system, peppermint clears a lot of mental fatigue and prevents congestion of the blood supply to the brain. Now, again, more modern research is needed on this, but it has been known that they reckon it works very much with relieving the blood supply and stop that congestion. It's also been known to help with the lymphatic system. Now, lymphatic drainage in the lymphatic system is about how we produce and get rid of the lymph and clear our lymph glands. So peppermint's very useful for that. So for skincare, it relieves itching, but again, should be less than use 1% of dilution. So when we talk about 1% dilution, say it's 100 mils, we only are looking at 1% of that. So 1 to 2 drops. Yeah, that's how we do it. So also, big warning, if you ever want to use peppermint on children, you must make sure that you never add it on the face of babies or young children. Due to some peppermint oils, their preparation produces too high methanol, which is actually a form of methanol. Methanol, if it's used too highly or it's produced with too much alcohol, actually causes a lot of irritation. So you have to be very careful. So I would recommend that if you only use it with children, that you only use it in a diffuser, or that it's in water that like they can smell like the vapors coming up from hot water, but it doesn't hit the face. Also, with toning effects on the skin and stuff, I would only use it on adults. That is the preference I would use. So again, with peppermint, a couple of things: wakes up the mind, clears headaches, and supports indigestion. And again, be wary of it because some qualities are not as good as others. What I would recommend is through the ones I've used is Neal's oil is a very mild form of it, and it's the high methon and it's not only used. But if you smell peppermint and it's really overpowering when you sniff it, that would tell you that it's using a lot of high alcohol content, but it's also got high menthol content, which means that it's too strong to use on sensitive skin. So until next time, I shall speak to you soon.